Welcome to the latest article from Clive. God inspires, so I carefully write them down to share them with you. Remember, from what we get, we make a living. From what we give, however, we make a life. Our article is entitled Married to the Monarch. The world has been recently saddened with the passing of Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, just short of his 100th birthday, and then he could have received a special congratulatory message from the Queen, his own wife. Apart from all the other things, all the documentaries telling us all about his life and all about his funeral and who will attend, well, this interesting concept has peeped through, so let us explore. Prince Philip married a lovely lady. Well, actually a princess who was, upon her father's death, thrust into a whole new world and was crowned monarch of about one-third of the world, and some postulate that the actual realm is really much bigger than that. We will let others debate that point as we wish to explore his role as her husband. Prince Philip, upon his father-in-law's death, in essence lost his wife as well, as she then became the monarch. He was no longer able to take a holiday away with her whenever he wanted, take her for a stroll in the countryside, pop out with her for an ice cream, bring her a hot drink and a piece of cake, a cookie, curl up with her to watch a sunset or a movie. She was the monarch, and she had dominion over him. He now served her with his everything, for his life and existence was in her hand, to honour and to exalt, to be banished and rejected, or even to imprisonment and death sentences, which previous monarchs have used to remove a spouse. Prince Philip had no access to his wife without it firstly being put in a spare space in her diary, and the amount of time, subject matter was all very strictly controlled by her role as monarch. Prince Philip could not ring her on the telephone, pop into her office. Any contact was strictly controlled so that her organized schedule was not messed up, so that things in the realm might not get left unattended to, for his wife is the monarch. To get this glimpse of being married to the monarch from these few verses in the Bible, Esther 4:11. All the king's servants and the people of the king's province do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come unto the king in the inner court who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death, except such whom the king will hold out the golden scepter, that he may live. But I have not been called to come in unto the king these 30 days. Esther is the queen, and she has no access to her husband the king, unless he comes to her or gives her an appointment to come unto him. Esther 4:16. Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maids will fast likewise, and so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law, and if I perish, I perish. Esther 5:1 and 2. Now it came to pass on the third day that Esther put on her royal apparel, stood in the inner court of the king's house, over against the king's house, and the king sat upon the royal throne in the royal house, over against the gate of the house. And it was so, when the king saw Esther the queen standing in the court, that she obtained favour in his sight, and the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter. You see, Queen Esther had overstepped her role. Her life was now fully in the king's hands, and unless she received mercy and grace, her breaking the rules and arriving unsolicited and unannounced was normally instant death from her very own husband. Prince Philip lived under less rigid rules, but access to his own wife, the monarch, was under the strict enforced rules of the monarchy and no longer as a spouse. He was required to walk a couple of steps behind her, sit after her, to rise from seated after her, to eat and drink only when she had started firstly. His life was to be just behind her in everything, and what he did, said, ate, drank, everything was strictly monitored, so that he represented the monarchy correctly. Very interesting, but what is the point? Colossians 1:27 part B, which is Christ in you, the hope of glory. Genesis 2:24, therefore shall a man leave his father and mother and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. So in a marriage concept, if Christ is in you, then you are one flesh with him. So Jesus Christ is your husband. But we are only talking about this in a marriage concept and not a gender dilemma. Matthew 22 verse 30. For in the resurrection they neither marry nor give in marriage, but are as the angels of the God in heaven. Galatians 3:28, there is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither bond nor free, there is neither male nor female, for ye are all one in Christ Jesus. John 4:24, God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Jesus alludes to the redeemed as having no gender of being men and women, so we are depicted as non-gender, it appears. Now, let's get back to our study. The study of a spiritual marriage. Therefore, Jesus Christ holds your very life and existence in the palm of his hands, and you are now required to live an exemplary life, fully reflecting your husband, Jesus Christ. And we all know how very instantly the press and TV reporters will report any and every perceived indiscretion. Paul plays with this concept in 1 Corinthians 4:9. For I think that God hath set forth us as the apostles last, as it were appointed to death. For we are made a spectacle unto the world, and to angels, and to men. With this reporter concept, with the angels being depicted as recording your everything, so what are they reporting on you? Paul once more captured this concept in Acts 17, verse 28. For in him we live and move and have our being, as certain of your poets have said, for we are also his offspring or spouse. So what reports are being aired on the heavens nightly hot news, all about what you have said or done or thought, or 1 Corinthians 10:31, whether therefore ye eat or drink or whatsoever ye do, do all to the glory of God. Do you and I live with God first, last, and best in everything? Do we live all to the glory of God? Are we still one step behind Jesus or somewhere far behind? Are we in step or out of step with Jesus? Let us always be in step and holding firmly God's hand, married to the monarch. It's been so nice to share this article with you, and we look forward to meeting again. Thank you for these precious moments of your time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing this with friends and family. Let us never bring shame upon God's name. Until we meet again, please stay safe.